Today at the Summer Institute for the Vocal Arts, we welcomed my dear friend and esteemed colleague, Mary Nessinger. And we had a wonderful class with Mary today. I think the students really just ate up what you had to say. And it's just, again, it's like always the personality of the person teaching is so important. So it's not just what you said, it's how you say it and how you relate to the students. That's so important and inimitable. So I think what would be great is if we could ask you to just give 3 things for the students to kind of take away, remember, what was the most important thing for you today that you said that you think they should be remembering?
3 things?
I know 3 is very difficult. It is.
Can I give you 20?
Yeah, in a class where you say so much. Absolutely.
Well, one thing that I find very important, and I know that you and I talk about this a lot with our students, but it gets neglected a lot, and that is the connection of the technically good breath to the emotion of the piece. Mm-hmm. And how those things have to work together as a unit. They can't be 2 separate entities. They have to be 2 separate entities, yes, but they work in conjunction with each other. And I just feel like that's a conversation that doesn't get talked about enough, and that entails talking about posture and talking about openness in the throat and the pharyngeal wall and all of those things, but the actual intake of the breath and the support of the breath and how they pertain to the emotion of your piece, and how one can keep those things where they need to be and not add anything extra that causes tension.
Yeah. So that students can understand that to set themselves up well physically for the phrase doesn't mean that they shut themselves down emotionally.
You can't get stuck thinking about the technical aspect of something. If you're performing, it's the whole package. You have to be technically great, you have to be emotionally great, and you can think of those 2 things together as you learn a piece, so that when you get to the performance, then things open up even more. Most of us have that happen. You get on stage and you turn on, and it will allow you not to get too overzealous and crazy.
Yeah,
when
fantastic.
You're performing.
What else?
Well, I try in my own work with my private students to really lead with talking about what they're happy about with their performance. And I do feel like it was funny to watch some of the kids today when I would say, what were you happiest with? They would stumble and they would try and think of something to say, and maybe they made a couple things up, like, I don't know. Like, I know when I'm confronted with that question, I also am like, I don't know if I was really happy with anything, because we all tend to be super hypercritical of ourselves. But I felt like as the class progressed, people were more and more comfortable actually saying, well, I felt like I did this really well, and I felt like I did that really well, and I could see them making them more comfortable, and I just feel like if they can walk away realizing that when they practice, they should sit down. Like, I keep a journal, and what I do is I'll think about, okay, I just sang through that. Okay, what did I like about that? And I'll write it down. And if I'm recording it, then I can go back to my notes later and say, that felt really good, and it sounded the best too. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. So, like, encouraging them to think positively about the work they're doing rather than kicking themselves in the shins all the time. Yeah. So yeah, that would be number 2.
And number 3?
Well, I think number 3 would have to be that those kids are all super talented. I heard some really talented kids today, and they were unafraid to jump off a cliff. I asked them to do sometimes somewhat crazy things, and they were just willing to do it, which I think is a testament to you and to this festival and how comfortable they all feel, and the work that they're doing here fosters that sense of adventure in their singing and in their craft. And I also just feel like if they can know one thing, it's that they really do have inside of them every single thing they need to be a great singer, and they just have to be willing to be unafraid and jump in with their feet first and just go for it.
I love that phrase, sense of adventure in singing. I'm going to try to do that better too. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you.